Hello, 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 and welcome back to the Round 11 podcast. I'm Cruisin' Spaz, joined today by three lovely gentlemen that go by the names of TS Chance, The Real Toxic, and Zarin Cod, coming hot off of week number 2 of Stage 2 in the CDL, hot off of Challengers weekend. And I mean, Zarin, you casted some 2v2 gunfight thing this weekend too, so you're coming hot off that. So good ass time this week. Lots of Call of Duty to go over and talk about. How you boys doing today?
Doing good. Very interesting matchups this week,
to say the least.
Oh, yeah. Great. This is interesting week.
I've learned a lot these past few days that power rankings don't mean absolute shit. And, we're going to argue today, but it's fine. It's fine. Because essentially it doesn't matter. Anybody can beat anybody, but nevertheless, we'll roll through it.
Except for FaZe. My power rankings this week are spicy. Let me just tell you guys that. You guys do not want to miss that towards the end of this episode. Our power rankings are about to be like a fucking roller coaster this week. That's how I feel about our power rankings. Anyways, guys, we're going to change it up a little bit this week. We're going with a little bit different of a format. See if this is a little bit better of a format for everybody. So really quickly, we're going to go through, just recap each match, not even give a full breakdown on it, and then we have different little sub points that we're going to go through after, just talking about different things of these teams. That way, maybe it's a little bit more structured this week. We're just trying out something new with the podcast. And if you guys like it, if you guys don't like it, if you guys want the old way, let us know in the comments, tweet at us, anything you guys want. All of our descriptions and stuff all of our links will be in the description below. So just let us know, honestly. But anyways, we're going to kick it off week 2, stage 2. It started with the Minnesota Rocket. It started with Paris Legion versus the Dallas Empire. It was the first match of the weekend, and it was a 3-1 going the way of Dallas Empire. Only match one was that search and destroy that Paris was able to take. You guys can see it on the screen here above.
Yeah, and Minnesota was the next matchup, Minnesota versus Optic, and I think to most people's surprise, Minnesota took that 3-0. I don't think anyone saw that coming.
Yeah, next match was London Royal Ravens against LA Thieves. London coming out of nowhere, taking it 3-1 against the Thieves. Nobody saw that one coming.
4:30 p.m. Eastern matchup on Friday. Subliners taking on the Gorillas, 3-1 victory for New York. LA able to take one map, but not enough.
New York with back-to-back starting off our Saturday. They were able to take the match over the London Ravens 3-2, and London only taking that checkmate control.
Yeah, I think the one that everyone saw coming, we had LA Thieves versus Atlanta FaZe next, and FaZe 3-0 the Thieves.
Next match was the Gorillas versus the Ultra. Ultra ending up taking it 3-2, going to a game 5.
Seattle Surge, Paris Legion. A lot of people had this one going the distance, but Seattle Surge was a quick 3-0. How the hell are you?
I like that. And then Dallas Empire versus Minnesota Rocker. I don't think a lot of people saw this one coming. Went the full 5. Minnesota take it in a game 5, round 10, taking it 6-4 over Empire on Express Search and Destroy.
And last, and definitely not least, Florida Mutineers 3-0 Optic. Once again, I don't think anybody saw that coming.
Optic just can't play against fucking Florida, man.
No.
Although I will say,
can't play at all.
I will say this. All right, so you keep your hot takes.
We're not even 5 minutes in. Chill.
I will say this though. Florida playing with some heavy hearts this weekend. Rest in peace to Pharaoh. It was going to be his 22nd birthday. So honestly, I'm kind of happy they got that win for Pharaoh, if I'm being completely honest. So moving on, we can just take a little look at our standings after stage 2, week 2. And currently we have the Atlanta FaZe still sitting at number 1 to nobody's surprise at 155 points, followed by Dallas at 120, New York at 110. And then you have Optic still sitting at 90 points, actually 7-5 in the league right now, which is awful if you're an Optic gaming fan. Honestly, that is just not what you want to see from that team. Then you got LA Thieves. They're still doo-doo, sitting at 6-6. Minnesota Rocker at 5-5. Good bounce back week for them. Florida sitting at 5-6 and 7th, followed by the LA Gorillas, who are also at 50 points, sit at 3-8. And then as we head in towards the 4 teams who are not currently sitting inside a playoff currently sitting inside that playoff bracket, you got Toronto Ultra and Paris Legion just outside at 40 points apiece at 4-7 and 3-7. And then to round out the bottom of our leaderboard, Seattle Surge at 30 points, 3-6, and in 12th place to the London Royal Ravens at 20 points, 2-7. But they won both their matches this week, so lots to talk about indeed. And we got to start off with this. Optic Gaming, holy shit, get 06th this week. 06th. They looked like absolute garbage this week.
They look like they forgot how to play Call of Duty. like, and we'll get into it in the power rankings and stuff. I won't say where I have them, but I definitely think that this was just an off weekend. I don't think this says anything about them as a team or where they're headed. I think it was just a terrible weekend or week of COD for them.
Yeah, I think honestly, just if you're on that Optic roster, just forget the weekend, move forward, and try to win your next matches because you just can't. This happens. You got
I got a lot to say about this.
It's hard. It's heartbreaking to see this happen, but you got to move forward. You got to move on.
Holy shit, dude! There's nothing I love more than watching Optic fans cry on Twitter after a loss, especially a bad loss, which happened twice this week. Twice.
I just put a
6.
4.
Yeah.
The fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
Twice.
You're a little lost.
Not once, but twice.
So I haven't seen Optic play this bad probably since World War II.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, and we know how bad that stretch was for them. I mean, this is 2 matches throughout the season. Yeah, they've had a couple bad losses this year already. Their record isn't pretty for sure, but I mean, I don't think they should panic just yet. I mean, 2 bad losses. If they figure it out, get ready for the major. If they stink it up at the major, okay, then a change should be considered, or even think about regrouping somehow. You can shake your head all you want. This is what I'm saying. This is what should happen.
I
You think General could improve the team?
No, 1 second. Just finish your point. 1 second. Go ahead, finish your point. I'll say my point after.
I'm just saying. I think nothing like everyone is hitting the fucking panic mode on Twitter right now, and I'm even seeing people saying, "Oh, who should Optic take out? Who's this, and that." Don't fucking take out anybody. Yeah, not yet.
Okay, I'm with you on that. Like,
yeah, if they get absolutely smoked, then okay, consider it. But right now, no way.
Yeah, I thought you were pushing to have General go in for something.
That's not where I thought Zarin was going with it, but I thought Zarin was saying to make a team change as well. That's why I was shaking my head. I was like, no, like they absolutely, y'all are fucking stupid if you think they need to make a team change. The worst player on the team right now is Dashy, which says a lot because Dashy is probably was our best player in the first couple weeks. He's obviously just struggling with a QBZ right now. Guess what? This meta probably not going to be the meta after stage 2. So why don't we all just stop crying about it? I'm a fucking Optic fan. We can stop crying. Yeah, they lost twice. Big deal. They're not making a damn team change. Y'all are fucking idiots if you think they are. I'm going to just say that out loud right now. Like, Scump is probably playing the best he's played in the last 3 years, and everybody's asking for Scump to get removed from the team. And I'm like, what the hell am I reading on Twitter right now? Like, y'all need to chill. I'm sorry, there's a little rant to Optic fans, but y'all are fucking stupid. Now, talking about the actual matches, they looked really damn bad this week.
Oh yeah, it was terrible. Like I said, it literally looked like they forgot how to play Call of Duty. Like they were making dumb mistakes. They were losing terrible gunfights that they should have won. And honestly, these are 2 teams this week that they should have been easy. They should have been able to sail through this week.
They had to win, dude.
100%. It was watching that last series, the last game of the weekend. Oh, it was hard, man. Like the last couple rounds of the control, a little bit in the SND, just they did not look as sharp as they've looked all year, and it just kind of just shows. You can see in how defeated they looked at the very end. Scump looked like it was just it. He looked so upset, and he shows like they're good players. They don't need a roster change. Isn't needed. It's just a tough week. That's what it was. A tough week for Optic.
It's one thing to get smoked by the top 2 teams in the league, but when we're talking about the bottom half of the league, Minnesota and Florida at the time were at the bottom of the league. Now things have changed obviously this week, but those are matches you need to win. They could be looking at 9-3 right now, sitting in 3rd place, but instead they find themselves with a 7-5 record. They look like shit. I don't think like this is the normal for them. I think they're going to bounce back next week. Obviously, we'll get into that more, but I just don't think imagine back in the AW or BO3 where a team loses 2 matches and everyone's like, holy shit, let's make a roster change right away. Especially a team the caliber of Optic. Like Atlanta gets smoked this week. Are you saying okay, they need to put Sib in for Simp or something? Like no, like no one is saying that shit. Atlanta has a bad week. They're like, oh, they just had a bad week. They're still the best team in the game.
Sib and Perseus.
Yeah.
No, okay.
Imagine.
Honestly though, like to everybody calling for a team change, that's ridiculous. I think maybe if they struggle again this weekend, they still will not even, or in the major, they still will not even think about making a team change. They would sooner make role changes before they make a team change. You know this team is sticking together all the way through. I'm sorry, I just really want to say this. And then also, I think the only way I see them making a team change is if the struggle continues significantly enough to the point where it's to the third major and they're still consistently losing matches. I think is the only way I see a team change coming in. And I don't see them picking up an AM. They will make a trade if anything. There won't be a legitimate team change, I don't think.
Yeah, I think that could be the case, or if for some reason tensions spill out, like we've known to happen to Optic in the past, tensions spill out of game, and something's just not clicking there. But yeah, no, this this was, I will say, it was upsetting, but competitive comp or competitive COD Reddit has been popping, and I'm living for it.
Envoy had a great week though.
Yeah, and also if Dashy's your worst player, that's not a bad problem to have.
No, not
It's really
at all.
not. It's really not.
And I don't really want to get off topic at all, but we've never really seen the whole trade aspect come into play yet in the CDL. With the locations not really being a factor, with the majority of these teams being located in Texas.
That'd be interesting.
It'd be really interesting to see if because I mean right now, if Optic were to make a roster change, it would make no sense. There's no free agent available that can come in and make a huge impact. Like
who's replacing
someone
Dashy?
Yeah, like no one can come in and be better than Dashy at this point. Trades, if it's very, very interesting. We have yet to see it in the CDL. Of course, we're only a year and a half into the entire league, but I'd be really interested to see if Optic would be open to moving one of their parts.
I will say, Sensor is now playing on 1 millisecond response time.
Oh,
I don't know if you've seen the Twitter clips, but he's frying.
Okay.
Doug.
Okay, I will just say this as well. Who would you even replace on this team? Like,
It's hard to name someone.
Nobody.
I mean,
there's no scapegoat. There's no scapegoat.
It's Dashy. If you replace anyone, it's Dashy.
It would have to be.
Only because you're not replacing Scump or Formal. Envoy hasn't done as bad as Dashy has. Dashy's the choice, but you're dumb
just not
if you
going
do
to.
that.
Yeah, exactly.
It wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
And I think Dashy's locked into a 2-year contract as well, so that's a big contract to have to give up for somebody to have to buy out as well. So I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what this team. It's gonna stick together. They're gonna make it work. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if when we see the new meta come in, if they're playing a lot better. Personally, I think Dashy might need to pick up a third sub on some maps. Low key, I think that might be the answer. But you know what? We can that could be a discussion for another day, another podcast. We got to move on. Minnesota, holy shit! I'm not even gonna say that one more time, but Standy, holy shit, Standy is so good. I told all of you guys Standy was amazing. This guy came in. Don't listen to what I said about Venom, but Standy, fucking nasty, came in. He had probably the best debut that we've ever seen out of a player in CDL. Yes, Simp was amazing, but that was back in CWL days. Standy by far best CDL debut I've ever seen.
Yeah, Minnesota looked like the week one Minnesota, the team that beat Dallas, and then everyone started hyping up. I think that's what a lot of people wanted to see Minnesota continue to do so far this season.
It's been the way they've been supposed to be all year.
And so, but now if they are hitting that peak or hitting that point, I think they could be a dangerous team going forward throughout the season.
This is a fun team to watch play COD. Watching Standy push and everything is probably the most entertained I've been watching COD in a while. And in all honesty, like Jesse, you said it, Standy coming in is going to be amazing. And you said Priestess switching over to the flex role where he's more comfortable is going to be amazing. And sir, you were right about that. Priestess looks like a whole new player playing these two games. And I just want to say one thing. Minnesota, would you say that they have Dallas's number? Because they beat them with not just one roster, but with two different rosters. Yes, it's one player difference, but it's also one player difference and different roles.
I think Dallas is in a similar spot to Optic right now, but we'll talk about that after. That's like another point that we have later on. But yes, I think Dallas is in a very vulnerable position right now as well.
Boys. This Minnesota team.
They needed a second sub the entire time. I literally said it from the start of the year. Did I not, Zarin? As soon as the team was announced.
This is what we've been talking about. I'm still kind of shocked that it wasn't Priestess that was taken out and Maniac moved to the flex role, but I mean, it seems to have worked. We just went from last week with how incredible Insight played. Like we're talking about that as the greatest CDL debut, so far in this year and a half of the league being around. Insight was absolutely fantastic last week. There's no denying that. But Standy, dude,
Nothing to stand.
Standy came in and he was not only the best player on his team, but he was the best player in the entire week.
3-0 Optic in your first series, like
it was just absolutely absurd what he did. It was extremely impressive. This Minnesota team, I said I was renting. Now I'm ready to buy in, baby. Standy was the answer. He's proven that. They're a very good team now, very scary team.
I think I sold when we did that thing earlier. I think I sold, and I think I made a good decision in selling when I did. That stock going up, and now I'm buying again, baby. That's all I'm saying.
I should have flipped them.
You should have flipped them. All right, moving on. Seattle Surge, as Zach wants me to say, Seattle Surgeon. But Seattle looking a lot better. Their last 3 matches, they come away with 2 wins and a Game 5 lost to the Dallas Empire. And I mean, honestly, it's got to be on the back of Pristini playing a lot better, so that sub duo looks a lot better. And honestly, they're playing off meta right now. And we can kind of talk about it a little bit, but Gunless is running a 3rd sub on a lot of maps right now, and they're not running a QBZ, it seems like, on most maps.
Yeah, I think that combination is doing nothing but positive things for him. I think most people are worried about Seattle, how shown themselves to play the past few weeks and how it looked like they were going until the meta change. But I think they could definitely be a top contender for top of the mid-tier teams as the season goes on.
Yeah, no, honestly, this meta for Seattle is just awoken the players, and like you guys have already said it, but they're playing like different people, and it goes on the back of Pristini, and like you mentioned, Gunless as well. Like before the podcast, I pulled up I saw the stat of Gunless having a 1.6 this weekend, and it's just like it's crazy to think like a new meta, and Seattle is just a whole different team now.
Yeah, stats guy Zach, appreciate it. Seattle Surge, this is a team, they had favorable matchups over the last couple of weeks. We're talking about the middle of the pack teams needing to beat those lower tier teams, and that's exactly what they've done over the last couple of weeks. They get a big win over Paris this weekend, only 1 match for them, so probably a good thing. It's not going to slow their momentum at all. They seem to be getting things all figured out. This is a team that we all thought should probably make a change. They have yet to. They're starting to improve, and they're coming around, and they're starting, their uprise up through our power rankings right now. They've been impressive, but they still need to hit that extra level.
I'm really, really excited to see what this weapon patch is going to be this week coming in. Because if an FFAR buff comes
everything's getting tuned.
If an FFAR buff comes in, you see a 74 nerf and probably a Craig nerf as well. Could you imagine how good the FFAR could end up being in this? Like, I feel like the FFAR will take place in the meta over a QBZ or an XM4, and I think it would be the perfect meta gun to be that flex gun. And I think that's the only way that I see Seattle really starting to struggle, unless Gunless is nasty with the FFAR, honestly. But this meta, Seattle has looked great. I think I'm more impressed, honestly, by their 3-2 loss to Dallas than I was by any of their wins, to be honest. They've looked really good, though. I'm really happy to see them turn it around for all those players over there.
Yeah.
Moving on. LA. The LA Thieves. They still fucking suck. I'm just going to say it. They are awful. Venom came in. I don't know if maybe it's just lack of practice with the team or what, but he just does. He looks like Spart last year when Spart joined the league. He just looked like he came up from the CDL. That's the best. That's the best comparison I can give. Is he looks like he came from challengers and can't hang with the kids at in the CDL level.
Yeah, he had a real opportunity, just like all the other AMs who've come up in the past few weeks
on a better team.
Yeah, like on a better team, but to like come in, make a name for yourself, say this is what I can do, this is why you need me. And I think he just failed to do that. Now I think he could have done worse. I think he at most held his own, but yeah, LA is just terrible.
Man, LA Thieves, this hurts. Like I hearing Venom coming up, I wanted to be excited, and I was excited. And just after the performance this week, man, losing to London, like I get London's been hot, but that's a whole different thing. But it's like man, like there's something going on with the LA Thieves that nobody knows about, and it needs to be fixed, man, because they're just falling farther and farther down. Nate Shot looks like he might need to put the boots back on, carry the team to glory.
Jeez.
I mean, sorry, Zarin, I don't mean to cut you off, but I'll let you go right after this. Yes, I am kind of shitting on Venom a little bit, but he also was definitely not the worst player on the LA Thieves this week.
Oh,
either.
no,
they were all really bad. I just want to say that before everybody thinks I'm absolutely shitting on Venom.
I'm honestly, I'm not surprised by these results at all. I talked about it on the prediction show. I said this team's going to struggle. I did expect them to beat London, which was actually a nice surprise from London to come out and win. But I'm not surprised by this at all. They had I said it on the prediction show. They had 3 days of practice. Venom is playing his first 2 series of his professional career. That's a lot of pressure for someone, especially a young player who's just making his way up. And to be fair, I think there's going to be a lot of comparison with him with Standy, Insight, and PaulEhX. Of course, all those rookies making their debuts either this week or the last week. The way Insight, Paul, and Standy all came in and absolutely showed up, I think it really put a damper on Venom and how he played over this weekend. That look, the team is struggling, and that's understandable for a new player to come in, especially a rookie nonetheless, and struggle. I really think he got too much criticism for how he played based on how Insight, Paul, and Standy all played. That's just how I see it.
Yeah, to that, honestly, just to bounce off that point, like we see it and we've heard in like interviews that these rookies have had. It's like they want to come in and prove a point, like that they can hang with the big dogs. But at the same time, to that point, there could also be nerves playing against those big dogs. Like when you look at Venom, his second series was against Atlanta FaZe, a team that hasn't lost yet, like undefeated, and he's playing against 2 of the best subs in the league.
And it's hard to fully show off when you have no support from your teammates.
Exactly.
Like
he
on the
just
maps.
joined a struggling team, and the team is still just as bad. Zarin, I agree with a lot of your points. I don't think I'm fully being hard on him as well, just because of what other players were doing. I think I'm just being hard on him because I expected a lot more personally, just from him, just from what I've seen.
And I think everyone knows he can do a lot more. I don't think anyone thinks that this is like.
Yeah, I expect to see him turn it around. To be honest, it was just I don't know.
Yeah,
it was.
I think to call this team dog shit is absolutely absurd. I still think they're a top 5 caliber team. They had 3 days of practice with this new squad. I don't understand why people are losing their minds over a couple losses. Again, similar to Optic. Like let's figure it out. It's a little bit different situation, obviously, but they still need to figure it out. And they're gonna have another week to practice, and they can learn from this. I mean, to come in, I don't know what the expectation was. Obviously, one way was to beat London, which they didn't. Fine, whatever. But what were they gonna do against Atlanta FaZe?
I expected them to beat London. That's
I
think that's what it was.
It's not like they put Venom on the team and then lost. They were losing beforehand. I think that's why people are triggered about it, is because they were they. It's not like this is a step backwards. It's just. I
do got to be honest. They have fallen quite far in my power rankings. I don't see them as a top 5 team, and I didn't see them as a top 5 team with temp before the switch as well. So I mean, that's why I still have them as far down as I do when we get there, just before everybody gives me a lot of shit when that comes.
I just have one thing to say. Now we saw them scrimming, having Kenny on the sub and TJ on the flex. Did they flip roles again, and where Kenny was the flex during the matches and TJ was a sub? Because I didn't fully get to watch the matches.
Yeah, TJ was running the sub.
So I wonder.
And Kenny was struggling really hard with the flex.
Yeah, could it potentially be a role thing on the team?
I think it's a bunch of things. I think it's a role thing. I think it's a camaraderie thing.
To
an extent, I think it's
I just didn't see. I didn't fully get to watch the matches because my job and all that, but
I don't know.
I want to know.
I couldn't imagine it's easy to be a rookie coming in and having to be coached by Slasher as well. I'm sure that's pretty tough.
Yeah.
And I don't understand, like, I'm sure we'll talk about LA Thieves on another episode, but that essentially this team, this core group of this team have been together since the beginning of Modern Warfare. And it didn't work out then. Why did they think it was going to work out now? Beyond me,
they didn't really have a choice, honestly. They kind of got stuck together.
they
through
were
contracts
put
and
in a
stuff.
difficult spot for sure, but I just think, again, when are trades going to become a factor in the league? I think, this is a team that needs a massive shakeup, but it's not going to happen.
I wonder if John joins his good old buddy of Slasher. He's number 1 in the challengers right now. I think he might be the top
I would
sub in
love that.
challengers.
It'd be interesting to see John play.
Easter's
with the
number 1 in
Thieves.
if Easter wins this next Elite series, dude. I don't know, man. John
I
might
could
deserve
see
a
a
chance.
change. Yeah.
John might deserve a chance. That's all I'm saying. I've been saying it for a year. I missed that dude in the league. All right, we're stealing a segment from the Best of 3 podcast, but what's wrong with Paris, baby?
Oh, everything.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
Put it in
being
a simple way.
Everything. I mean,
Okay, talking about rookies who are struggling, Fire is playing very, very poor in that sub position or whatever role he's running right now, where they've moved him, I believe, to more of a sub role, and they've moved what's his name? They moved Scraps to that flex role. I think they need to switch those roles back before they think about making roster changes and stuff. But I think I don't know. There's a lot wrong with that team right now, man, and they don't look good.
I feel like they need to get their footing first. Like it feels like they were never fully comfortable as like a core 4.
I don't understand why role changes were made.
Right, and I mean like they're once again on the COD subreddit, I saw a meme of Gunless spanking Fire. I mean, whatever they did did not work for them, and they need to figure it out fast. I mean, obviously there's still a lot of COD left to be played this season, but I mean, in the big picture, you're kind of running out of time.
Yeah, I think when it comes to Paris, they've had like that kind of coasting season. They've had those moments where they've won games and they've looked like a Paris that can perform, but then they've had those games where it's like, well, where did you guys go? And I think there's one point that we can all agree on is Wuskins is Scraps. If you just bring Wuskins back with Scraps, I think that's one point we've all agreed on. It's like throughout this season about Paris.
There's some arguments to that. Those Scraps hasn't played all year, which is the big thing. He hasn't even attempted to play challengers. Really, it feels like. So I mean,
that's understandable. But like at the end of the day, it's like it's just Paris is it's weird. Like this is the one team that gives me the weird vibe of the league because they can look really good and like they can perform in that not necessarily top tier but closer to the top, but then they fall to the bottom because they just forget how to play COD.
I think based off the past few matches they've had, I don't think it could hurt to throw Wuskins in there. I mean, might as well.
I think they need to send Wuskins over to North America and have him run through challengers in NA a little bit, prove himself a little bit, and then bring him
him on as a
or
sub.
I don't even mean prove himself. I mean get him in to get him some reps and some practice.
Yeah.
So, but I think you need to get him NA reps. If I'm being completely honest, I don't think he needs to go in and fight through that EU gauntlet over there. Just get him reps in NA, get him ready to go. Have him playing 8s again constantly. Just get him back into like the mindset of being a pro player, and then get him in on either freaking London or on this team because
he should have been a pro player from the start. Man.
I don't understand why he's not on a pro team this year.
I was gonna sit here and be like, well, I don't have an opinion on Paris really, but I want to talk about Fire and Jesse. You brought him up briefly. I'm gonna make another analogy here. One of my famous analogies here on the Round 11 podcast.
Famous.
Fire, yeah. Fire had really essentially one really good year of challengers, and then he was brought up to the league like instantaneously. I think he was rushed, and I'm going to compare him to Dwayne Haskins. If you remember, for the avid football watchers, he had one incredible year at Ohio State in college before being drafted, and he was a first-round draft pick, and he was basically put right into the wildfire that was the Washington Redskins at the time, and he struggled. I think a guy like that, and Fire included, I think those are the kinds of guys that you want to kind of groom before bringing up to the pro league. I think the next step for him, the better next step for him would have been on an even better challengers team, playing with pros like, say, New York Subliners Academy, for example, with Saints, or some sort of veteran kind of leadership, which is something Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Duh.
Because I know he played with Parasite last year, and that was good. But if he had another year of development in the challenger scene, I think he'd be much better off in the league. I think he was once again put into the wildfire that was the fucking Paris Legion because they didn't even figure out their roster till January. So I think it was unfair to him.
I have an analogy to go off of your analogy here. So,
Ooh,
and I think that this is a little bit more of a fair analogy too, as opposed to bringing sports into it. I think this is very similar to the Spart situation last year because Spart was a fantastic player in the AM scene and got rushed up to a very, very bad LAG team last year, and I mean he very much so underperformed. I think we're seeing the same thing from Fire right now. He hasn't had a very great game where we've seen him absolutely pop off and be that player that everybody was expecting him to be. I don't think that Fire was the right choice to be brought up, and honestly I don't think they're going to make a role change though either because I just don't think Paris gives a fuck, honestly. Like their team just does not, like, they signed all their players to the league minimum. They signed them as late as they possibly could. They were the last team to get anything out there. They don't have a sub. I don't see them making a change.
They just come across like eventually things will click. Like they don't fully know what they're trying to do or the moves they need to make. They just like keep playing and just thinking.
Did they even make a change last year?
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Like maybe one roster change, right? I think they brought. They brought
late in the season.
Yeah.
It's just sad to see.
Oh yeah, they brought Denzin and they took out the guy that was playing the best for them for the first. I can't remember his name now, but Kismet. Thank you. Yeah. Kismet was probably their best player through the first. He can't even perform in challengers this year. What happened to that guy?
It's just, it sucks to see, man, because it's like there's some pros on the team that are good. Like they're good players, and it's just you're in an organization that's just like it's just leisure. It's all laid back, and I just feel bad for him.
I also feel. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I think to sum it up for me personally, I would like to see Fire take a step back, and I'd like to see someone like Jerd come in. Now, I don't think Jerd is going to be the huge difference maker that Paris needs, but I think Jerd is going to improve the team leadership wise. He leads by example. He's a sub player. He's going to allow Fire to just step back and kind of learn more before he can actually be put back in and be comfortable again.
And then you could also move Scraps and keep him in that AR role, which he looks a lot more comfortable in as well. He looked a lot better this week, but I mean, I think Scraps is still one of the best players in the league. I think he's just on a really bad team, if I'm being totally honest. He's had a couple bad raps for a couple years in a row. Anyways, let's move on here. PaulEhX, he is absolutely legit. Coming in, he looks really good on London. I mean, I didn't think it was going to be one move to turn this London team around. I still don't think it's going to, but at least they can beat other middle of the pack teams now.
Yeah, I mean, they what were they? I don't know how many points they have off the top of my head.
0.
But currently,
no, they had 0. They won both matches.
Oh no! I know that. I was thinking like how far they got until they got their first. They got into their first until they got their first points. I think PaulEhX, I don't think he's the difference maker. I don't think he's going to bring this team from to 0 to a hero, but I think it's a really, really good start to start pushing your way up through the pack.
I agree 100% with you there, James. Like, it's a good point to just be like, this is where we need to go to get up. This is our 0 to 100. Like I like PaulEhX. I think him on this team now makes this team interesting to watch for him because I can watch the matches and not be like, oh, it's gonna be a 3-0 for this team. Oh, it's gonna be a 3-1. It's a fight now, and I can be interested in maybe if they get lucky on a map or if maybe PaulEhX pops off, they can steal a series, and it's just interesting now. It makes it interesting to watch their matches.
I will say that. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Zard.
No, good. Go ahead. That's fine.
I was just going to say, so PaulEhX in their first series actually dropped to 1.17, but in the second series, he was honestly the worst statistical player on the team, but they still 3-0'd the LAG, which is something crazy.
Didn't he drop a 40 bomb at 1.2 in one of them? I remember reading that at one point.
That sounds like me in league play. I mean, sometimes we're just laying out so much, I just can't find anybody.
Oh,
I'm at the bottom of the leaderboard. Doesn't mean I'm.
But I mean, him being worse than the leaderboard, he was only 1 kill off of being positive throughout the entire series. So, I mean,
I feel your pain, PaulEhX. Don't worry.
Oh my god! All right,
James actually carries us.
Yeah. PaulEhX was actually a guy I was worried about. I thought it was going to be a little bit similar to the whole Venom situation, but I got to give him credit. He definitely showed up when he needed to. Again, he wasn't super explosive, but this guy, was impressive enough in his debut. He's here to stay. He's going to be a professional over the next few years, and I'm excited to see more of him. This is a little bit different than Venom. Or Fire as well. He's been around a couple of years now. He's always been, T32, T16, and challengers. And he really proved himself last year. He's deserved this spot. He's earned it, and he's here to stay.
And I think that's the big difference between him and Fire too. It's like he like literally ran the gauntlet this year and really deserved it. But I also don't think that expectations were as high for him as they were for the other rookies, and I think that's why it's so impressive what he's doing as well. Moving on, Dallas's Search and Destroy needs some serious work. I feel like this is the big thing holding them back right now. Their respawn looks okay. I think they're honestly, like I was saying earlier in the show, in a very vulnerable spot right now with Optic. I think that, as scary as it sounds, if Optic's able to win one of their 2 matches next week before the final match against Dallas, that last match against Dallas could honestly end up being for second place in winner's bracket. And I mean, Optic has a good chance to not even make winner's bracket, but if things do work out the right way for the side of Optic, it honestly could end up being that last match next week could end up being the what settles who gets second place in winners.
Yeah, I think kind of to what the point you made earlier in the podcast about how you think it's kind of a same situation as Optic, where it's just something's not clicking, doesn't make them a bad team. I think they're going to figure it out. I mean, you have really, really smart S&D players coming out of like Hook and Illy. Their IQ is just kind of through the roof sometimes. So I think they, just like Optic, they had a bad week. They didn't win a single S&D. I think they're going to bounce back. I think they're still going to struggle. I think it's still going to be close, but I think they'll bounce back to their form.
It's weird, man, because we all know what Dallas can be. We all know they can be that top team that can compete with FaZe. We all know that. And then it's just something. It's like a flip of a switch, where they're not performing. They're not winning gunfights that they should be winning. And then later in the game, like a Control, we saw them down before a couple weeks ago. They were down 2-0 and subliners, and flip of a switch, they came back and reverse swept. It's something about this team that it's not that it isn't clicking, but it's just I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it. It's just weird. It's weird to see this team go from this powerhouse, this juggernaut, to getting slain out by middle tier teams. It's weird as a fan, and it's weird as somebody who does the podcast. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah. I'm gonna throw something out there. For you guys and even people in the comment section, how would you feel about throwing Fellow in for the Search and Destroys, just to try something new?
No, I wouldn't do it.
No,
I wouldn't do it. I think you have 4 very talented players on that team that just need to figure it out together. Honestly,
Who would you throw him in for?
I mean, this is why I'm putting it out there.
He's like, that ain't my call.
I'm not saying they should.
There's our clip for Twitter for the week.
I'm not saying they should. I'm just it's
hypothetically.
I think it's an interesting thought, but yeah, I think they're just struggling.
I think it's an interesting thought. It's a bad idea, but
I don't know, I mean, for a top tier team struggling in a certain game mode,
no, for sure.
Try something out,
I think
it up a little bit.
I honestly think they just need to get more reps in as well. I think they're just not getting them offline, and that's the thing that a lot of teams don't do is they don't practice their Search and Destroy a lot. And I mean, we've seen this team once they get into form towards the second half of the year. And I said it at the start of the year, I said that they were a top 2 team, yes, but I also didn't think that they were going to find their full form until the second half of the year. Hook looks like the best player in this game still. He has been absolutely unreal. Maybe he might need to take more of a selfless role, though, and get Shotzzy back into something that makes Shotzzy a little bit more comfortable again. I don't know. But it seems like both of them don't seem to be going off on the same maps, and that could also be hurting them. Illy also seems to only be playing to his competition, which I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but it feels like Illy plays top teams. Illy's going off. Illy's playing bottom teams. Illy's struggling. So I don't know.
It's kind of like how we've seen Dashy in the past years. Just kind of, you can tell when they're playing lower tier teams that they just expect to beat. Sometimes they just play a little more lackluster, and that's kind of what comes across on Dallas sometimes.
Do you guys not see that though? Like I
want to bring that up. It was just I feel when it comes to Dallas, it depends on what Illy shows up for them to win. Like we've seen a little like the past week or so that Crim 6 he's getting stronger as the year gets on. In all honesty, he has. He didn't look that bad this week. You know what you're gonna get out of Hook and Shotzi in the sub role.
One of them will go off.
Exactly. You know you're going to get at least one of them going off, and the other one getting a timely kill. It's all, in my mind, it's all down to like what Illy is going to show up. Is it the Illy that plays against Elena FaZe that's slaying out his competition, or is it the Illy that's playing like a London Royal Ravens team which is getting killed when he shouldn't be getting killed?
I don't know. I don't really have too much more of an opinion on this.
Your thoughts on him playing to his competition? Have you seen that at all this year? Because like it really does feel like a little bit.
I mean, yeah, I don't think it's as bad as you're making it out to be. I think Dallas actually does that as a team. To be honest, I think
probably.
I mean, against the better teams, I'm talking 7 and up in the league. I think they play well against them, but as they get to the lower end teams, they just play down. They just give up maps that they shouldn't give up. We've seen them go to like multiple game 5s this year already, and we're like, really, what the hell? Like that should have been a 3-0 or a 3-1. I don't know. Dallas plays down as a whole. I don't think it's that bad though.
I don't know. This is my only thought process from that is like if you think back to stage 1 when they played through their whole like stage 1 bracket play or whatever, nothing really that surprisingly. They didn't play that great. They didn't play that bad, and then they played Optic in the and I wouldn't say they smoked Optic, but they definitely beat Optic. And
oh yeah.
I don't know. That was by far the best series I've seen Illy play all year. So I don't know. That's just my whole thought process from that. We got to move on though because we are kind of running a little bit long on this one. The last little topic we have before we get into our power rankings: the QBZ on 60 Hz servers. We're starting to see people in NHL or in NA, in the CDL using it less and less right now. Do you think it could just be a gun thing on 60 Hz servers? It just doesn't kill as well because they've talked about stuff like that before, where guns just feel different on different servers.
Yeah. Based on what I've seen from it, it looks like it's one of those guns that's shooting marshmallows. It seems like it's kind of inconsistent at times, and I think you'd be better off running the Krig, almost like it was as if it was in place of the XM4.
Yeah, I've seen. There's been moments where guys are beaming from a distance, and there's moments where you're emptying an entire clip and not even and barely getting to half health. Like it's just so inconsistent, man. And I think there's gonna. I feel like it's going to the third stage, third meta change. Like
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I'm hearing very, very faint rumors with this weapon tuning thing that the AK may possibly making a little bit of a comeback. But that is such a small little dose.
It would have to get very heavily nerfed.
Yeah. People are just talking right now, but focusing on the QBZ, I actually saw something interesting that Toronto did in the series against the Gorillas. I believe it was on Raid. Cammy was running the QBZ while Inside was running the Krig, and they actually mixed it back and forth pretty much throughout that game, and actually in the other hardpoints and Control, where they would either run two QBZs at the same time, or they would do one-on-one on a map like Raid. Like it was varied map to map for sure. Based on what I see in the majority of the week, it did seem to fizzle out towards the end of the week, like you said, Jesse. So I'm thinking the same thing. I think, practicing with the 12 hertz versus the 60, it's definitely there's definitely a noticeable difference, because you watch Optic Scrim all like that, they're using it, but as soon as they get into the match, it's a completely different kind of
at all today. Like
it's really strange, and that's the problem with practicing on 12 hertz and playing on 60.
I agree.
This is the issues that they've been running into not only this year but last year as well.
I couldn't agree more. All right, everybody, it is time. Give us a little Bruce Buffer. Come on, James, give it to me.
Sorry, give you what?
Give me a Bruce Buffer. Come on, it's time. Come on, give it to me. Come on. You know what?
I don't know.
Zarek, give it to me. Yeah, I know. You know what?
You don't know Bruce Buffer, bro?
You don't know.
It's time. There we go.
Time.
All right, James, you kind of flopped. It's okay. It is what it is.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna start us off here in our power rankings today. You don't know who Bruce Buffer is, dude?
Maybe I do, and I don't.
It's the ring announcer.
UFC ring announcer.
Oh, okay. I didn't know his name, or
There's
maybe
the
I
title
did.
for the podcast.
He's the dude that like literally he's like
On for the
5
main
rounds in our main event.
Okay, I know him.
Time like that, dude. Come on. All right. Anyway, start us off here in my number 12 spot for power rankings this week. I have got What's Wrong with Paris? Coming in at number 12, I don't really got much to say. Paris, look, honestly, I think anybody can beat them right now.
Yeah, I think based off how we did the first half of the podcast, there's not going to be much to say when it comes to power rankings because we pretty much covered everything. But yeah, I have Paris number 12 too. Not good.
Yeah, I mean, I actually have London at number 12, but it's not just because I think they're a bottom half team, but I think it's just we touched on it.
Where do
Stepping
you have
stone.
Paris? We don't talk about the other teams.
So sorry, my bad. I have Paris number 11. Again, just a bottom half team. Sorry. I thought I brain farted and thought we were going by number. That's on me.
It's okay.
Yeah, so I have Atlanta at number. Oh.
Sorry, guys.
No, I have Paris at 11. Look, flip flop 11 and 12 for me. We touched on Paris quite a bit. I mean, they're just they're bottom 2.
I mean, like I said, we just kind of got to rip through these, but I mean, it is what it is. Zarin, I'm gonna let you restart this one off. Give me your number 12.
Number 12, I got London. Look, I could very easily have them at 11 or 10. They give teams nightmares. They push teams to the limit every friggin' series. So I give them a lot of credit for that. But right now, I still don't think they're ready to move out of that last spot.
All right, are you guys ready for this, London? 10. They've moved up 2 spots in my power rankings. Congratulations,
Okay.
London. I think that they right now look better than my 11th place team, who I'm not gonna say, and my 12th place team.
Well, I will take that. I will raise it. I have London at 9. I know that's me. That's me being a little hopeful based on the improvements that I've seen in making. Like I said earlier, I think they'll get a little bit better, or they'll get better throughout the whole season, but it'll be in small increments. So I'm being gracious
with a +3 this week. Jeez,
being gracious. I'm putting them in at 9.
Hey, I have London at 12.
All right.
I got like I touched on before. Just I can flip flop them, but I think it's just this week was a good starting point for London.
I love that.
I think another good week, and they're moved up for the both of us. I think I could say that
100%.
for me and you for sure.
Honestly, I put them in 10th just because I don't know, they looked a little bit better than Paris did this week. So I mean, like I had to move Paris down as according
Fair
just
enough.
with how I do my power rankings.
Yeah.
Okay, James, your 11th isn't up yet. I'll do my 11th after you. So you go ahead. Give me your number 11.
My number 11. Okay, hear me out. It's Seattle. Okay.
Yeah, I think you're the only one that got them that low right now. But yes, give it to me.
No, I know. and it's because I will fully admit, and it's throughout the season. We people have to realize that the number 12 team at this point doesn't mean they're a terrible team.
Yeah.
It's kind of. I know we try to avoid making sports references, but Zarin and I were talking about before the podcast. The first Formula One race of the year was happened this morning, and the difference between first place and 20th place going into qualifiers was 0.09 of a second. That does not make the 20th driver trash compared to the first driver.
Yeah.
So I think going into this,
if you're not first, you're last. Ricky Bobby, baby.
Yeah, Seattle looks really good. You guys know me. I tend to look really, really far ahead, and I think there is with this weapon tuning that's coming up. I think that it could hurt Seattle, and so I think they're the meta team. I think it worked really good for them, but I think for the most part, it's not going to keep working out that way.
I can't even disagree with that. Sorry, Zach. I just want to say that you make some fucking outstanding points, dude. So credit to you.
Oh, I popped yours up on screen, so you might as well go. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Okay. No,
my bad.
I'm Seattle.
Yeah, Zach,
I
you
didn't
just
mean
sit back, bitch. Okay, thank
you. I didn't mean to take the reins there, but I just wanted to say how those points are just amazing. So I'm gonna look stupid for where I put them. I have Seattle at number 7. I think they're better than a few teams right now. I think you can flip-flop them in my 8 spot team, but Seattle, just the way they played over the last couple of weeks, they've been impressive. They won the matches that they've needed to win, and they continue to rise up.
Can I go? Okay.
Go
I
ahead.
have Seattle at number 8. I honestly they've moved up for me, and I think their play has shown it. If Brasini can keep doing what he's doing and Gunless keep doing what he's doing, I think this team's only going to go up. Yes, I agree with the point that the weapon tuning could hurt them, but for now, let's just ride the wave. All right, let's just ride the surge wave.
Nah, dude. All right, I'm coming in with it. I got Seattle at number 7 as well. Now I'm gonna give a little bit of a rebuttal to James. All right, I think Seattle Now, we know how I feel about the Seattle team, okay? I think that Seattle could absolutely come on and absolutely shit the bed in a couple weeks when the meta change comes in. But also, they are the only team right now who are kind of playing off meta and playing with 3 subs on some maps. So I think that is one thing that I think they could absolutely do. Now, to kind of go on to Zaren's point, I think that any of these fucking teams in my bottom 6 could absolutely beat each other on any damn day, depending on vetoes. I just think right now, with how I'm doing my power rankings, the last 2 weeks, Surge looked better than everybody else in my bottom 6 right now. That's why I got him at 7th.
Understandable.
All right. Now, for everybody to hate me, I love you all. My number 11 is the LA Thieves. They are playing absolutely awful right now. I think that they are a bottom 6 team at the moment. And yeah, I don't know. That's where I got them. They lost to London, so I put them lower than London. It's a little bit of a shot to the LA Thieves as well, but I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah. Okay. I have LA Thieves at 7. I guess kind of I can't disagree with you too much because basically we're flopped. You had Seattle at 7. I had Seattle at 11.
I think any of these teams could literally beat each other on any day in the bottom 6. If I'm being completely honest, honestly, London or LA Thieves could be 6th place next week or 7th place next week. But like right now, with how they played this week, they look like a bottom 2 team.
Yeah, I think I'm being a little hopeful. I'm hoping that they're gonna find their groove with Venoms. I like we said a couple podcasts ago, I'm leasing this team now. It was different earlier on, but like now I am very uneasy about this team.
Well, if James is hopeful, then I'm very hopeful because I have LA at number 6.
Okay, that's just crazy.
What do you mean? They're still in my bottom. Okay.
No, they're a top 6 team to you right now.
Yeah.
No, I think with Venom coming in, it's just it's kind of a go of points. It just stop.
No. I just can't wait for Zaren to roast me because I know I'm finally gonna get it from him. But like, it's okay because like I fully expected it. Like I'm ready for it.
I think Venom and the team just didn't get enough practice. I think
that's fully
jumping in. No, I think jumping into it, it just like we heard the rookies say like they want to jump into it and I'd be hungry. Venom jumped into it. I think some nerves set in for him. I think more practice and all that, the team will be better.
And now for the main event.
Go ahead.
Did I do it right?
Hey James, just mute up and sit back.
It does not matter where I have the 100 Thieves because I don't fucking have them at 11.
They're awful right now. I feel like
you're sitting there and telling me that the Gorillas, the Ultra, Seattle can all beat the 100 Thieves
this week.
Yes, Paris can beat the 100 Thieves.
I have Paris in 12.
Oh right, okay, sorry. Yeah,
Thank
you have London ahead of 100 Thieves. Okay,
because they beat them 3-0.
Okay, so you're telling me if Optic loses to London, you're gonna put them at fucking 12? Are you serious?
No,
like
absolutely
what?
not. But I mean, Optic's Optic. LA Thieves have been a bad team for like the last month now.
Okay.
And like I said to you earlier in the podcast as well, I was moving LA Thieves down before the change, and they've looked worse after the change. That's why they got moved down more.
The closest team to being able to beat 100 Thieves right now, and again, we're talking 100 Thieves that are practiced with Venom and ready to go. Next week, if they shit the bed, I will eat my words. I will move.
I'm not even talking
Thieves.
next week. I'm talking about this week, though. This week, I got LA Thieves at number 11. They looked awful. That's what I mean. I'm not looking into the future right now with my power rankings. I'm looking at right now. They looked awful. That's my spot with my power rankings.
We have had this debate so many times. It is not just about this week. It's
this week and the weeks before. I'm not. I can't tell the future. This week and the weeks before, they've looked bad. I don't know what you want me to say. I just had them in a bad spot. Yeah, they could definitely be moved up.
But
I don't see them as a top 6 team right now. They aren't.
Where did you have them before?
Where did I have them before? They moved down. I had them as a top 6 team 2 weeks ago when we did our last power rankings. I had them at 5th, and they've just looked worse and worse ever since then.
Okay, I can't even disagree with you, but I just the closest team.
Honestly, you're not wrong. Like 11th is deep, and it's just more so just a statement from me. But I'm just like I just think they're awful. Like
I know. I'm just saying the closest team right now to 100 Thieves and cracking that top 6 is Florida. I think if Florida has another good weekend, they'll be able to overtake them. And I do agree. I think 100 Thieves, they're playing like shit. Anybody they play in the top 6 right now, they're getting probably smoked pretty easily. However, I still think they are the best of the worst, if that makes sense.
No, you're not. I mean, you're not wrong. I was just trying to have some fun with it.
I know. But this is. I'm not as mad as I feel like I
Not a
would
game.
normally be. Yeah, because
he just
100 Thieves. Yeah,
he wants
I
to just
see
give me a
what he did.
finisher right now in game.
Yeah, exactly.
in the game.
That execution, yeah. But no, 100 Thieves, they're still a top 6 team in my eyes. I think they're on the cusp of being a bottom 6 team. I think it's going to take one event to see which kind of team they are. I think with a full week of practice with Venom, I think they're a top 6 team once more. But if they shit the bed again, which they very well could, I will eat my words and I will move them right down.
I want to see him in at 11 if they shit the bed again.
I will do it.
All right.
Bookmark.
Who hasn't started one yet, guys? Zach, have you started one yet?
No, I have not.
All right, give me your number 10.
My number 10, I have the LA Gorillas. Now, I just haven't. Again, the Gorillas is one.
So what was that, Zarin?
Oh, sorry.
Oh my god.
Yo, I was like, bro, I put LA Thieves at 11, yo. Zach puts LAG at 10. Zarin's fucking smacking his desk.
Hold on. No. I knew you're an Optic fan, but I didn't realize I hit a string that hard. I'm sorry.
Don't fuck with my LA Gorillas, dude.
But no, I just thought like they had that one little spurt of like showing their potential. And I don't think they haven't really done anything since. Like it's just been quiet from that LA Gorillas camp. So I have them at number 10.
Yeah, I have them at 10 actually too. They're kind of they're a weird team for me because they obviously had that one really good major, but they make a little bit of noise here and there. But I don't know. I just don't think they're nothing special. I think a couple teams are better than them. Not many teams worse. They're just there.
You good, Jesse?
No, I'm not good. I'm having way too much fun with this, but I feel like I'm drunk right now, and I'm just having a lot of fun with the podcast. I got LAG at 9, yeah, just a little bit higher than all you guys. I don't know. I agree with a lot of your points. I think they're pretty bad. I don't think they're as bad as London or the Thieves right now. I think they would have beat the Thieves this week again.
Yeah.
I honestly think they would have beat the Thieves, and they beat them at the last major when the Thieves were coming into it looking informed. So I don't know what you want from me.
Yeah, basically, I have all those same points. I have the Gorillas at 10. They're not the worst, but they're definitely not the best.
All right, Zara, give me your number 9.
I got the Ultra at 9. I'm done with my Toronto rants until they show me something that I could actually be proud of. I'm done fucking talking about them. They're just kind of there.
I mean, what did Toronto do this week that made you so mad? I'm just wondering. Like,
no,
they had a pretty good week, didn't they?
They won, but it wasn't a good win by any means. There's still something wrong with this team. I will give a lot of credit to Bance though. I wanted his head on a stick at the end of last week. But you know what? He showed up. He knew, and even they talked about it on the desk. Maven and Merc talked about it. He had a lot of pressure on him. He was playing for his job, and he showed up. So I still think there's something wrong with this team. They need to figure it out. They won, great, but it was against the Gorillas, and it wasn't all that impressive. But they did win a raid respawn, so that's a nice little sign from them.
All right, I got Toronto at 6. I still think Toronto's actually I think that they are not a top 5 team, but I think they are part of that bottom 7, if that makes sense. And personally, I think that they're better than everybody else in the bottom 7. I think that if you play Toronto against most of these other teams, they're probably going to be able to come out with a victory. Maybe not Seattle, actually, who I have in 7th right now. Maybe you could flip-flop those two teams for me because of how Seattle looked this week. But honestly, I don't think Toronto looks that bad. I think Bance made strides this week to get better, which I was very happy to see. They won their match against LAG, who I have at 9th right now. So, I mean, like, I couldn't put them worse than LAG. I don't know, but I think they're a 6th place team right now, and I think that's right for them.
Yeah, I have Toronto at 6 also. Bance definitely made strides. He's got to keep it up, though. Like you said, he was playing for his job. I mean, you don't want to prove the Twitter fanboys right. No Zinni, no Winnie. Like
Zinni first Winnie.
Yeah.
No Zinni, but the first Winnie.
You gotta.
I think
everyone has to step it up. Insight came in so hot on his opening day, and Bance just tanked. It's like if everyone on Toronto can just step it up one more level, so they're at least all even and not one person falling behind, I think they could definitely be a contender for potentially top 5 by the end of the season.
I just want to wait before you say anything, Zach. Sorry, I just want to say if
What?
I think whoever did the Toronto match, like when we were going through everything earlier, I think whoever did it missed an opportunity to say no Zinni first winning before they said their thing. Anyway, go ahead, Zach.
I have Ultra as well at number 9. It's just I don't know. I still think they're one move away from being the top 6 team, or Jesse's top of the bottom 7. But no, I think I agree with your point there, James, that Bance is still fighting for his job. I think that's 100% true. And if he has like a week remotely close to what he did last week, where he was 0-6 in the first 6 rounds of the Surge, Methods is climbing his way back up into the starting rotation. So that's just my point in it. I don't by any means think Toronto's a bad team. I think they're struggling. I think they're one move away from being that top 6 team again.
I will just say this as well. I think that Toronto is probably got a better chance to take maps off some of the top 5 teams than some of these other bottom teams do, which is another reason why I have them in 6th. I just thought of that reason while you were talking, but yeah. James, if you want to go ahead and give me your number 9.
Number 9?
Oh, sorry, your number 8. Your number 8, sorry.
Yeah, I was like, number 8, I have Florida. It's kind of a hit or miss team with me. I feel like they have really, really good strides. I mean, I don't know how much it says about Florida 3-0ing Optic. We talk about it all the time when some of these top tier teams lose. They beat themselves.
Yeah.
So I don't think Florida is, popping the champagne bottles about 3-0ing a team that just had their shoelaces tied together and just tripped over themselves.
Yeah.
Like I think they understand that they didn't outplay Optic. But I mean, yeah, I have a number 8. I think it can go either way.
Yeah, I have Florida State on number 7. Just kind of the similar points that you have. I would take just in a difference. I would take this as a pop the champagne bottles. They 3-0'd Optic.
I mean, it's not that they haven't done last year.
Exactly, but like at the same time, I think also winning the match like that, 3-0ing Optic for the ending of the week is also a big thing for them, just because at the same time it was, like we mentioned before, it was Pharaoh's birthday week. And I think it's just a big thing for them as the organization, be like, you know what, we kind of did this for Pharaoh, or he was with us throughout that map count. So I have Florida at number 7.
Well, I got Florida at 8. Likewise to what James said, I think it was more Optic losing than it was a Florida win. I think Florida, honestly, for me, they just go out and do the same thing every week, and sometimes they win, sometimes they lose. I think they're a team that gives other teams headaches, especially those top teams. They always seem to kind of hang around with those top 5 teams. Tough. Yeah, they always play teams tough, and I got to give them a lot of credit for that. Like I said, I think they could be 6th or 7th easily. They just need that another solid week, and like I said, they'll move up if they have another solid week. But they beat a really good team. That's plain and simple. So they moved up for me, and I think they're on the cusp of really kind of putting something together here.
All right, I got Florida at 8th as well. So I mean, something we can all agree on. Florida is a very much so middle of the pack team. I don't know. I think they could be good. I think, like you said earlier in the podcast, there, and they have a decent chance of being able to move up into that top 5, top 6 area. But they gotta win a little bit more consistently before I think about doing that for them. Moving on, I'll go with my number 5 here. I've got Minnesota Rockerson at number 5. Now I think this team absolutely could be a top 3 team if they continue doing what they're doing, but I mean, it's 1 week, it's a honeymoon phase. I think that we need to give them more time before I can move them up above top 5.
I had Minnesota 5 also. I think that's kind of right now how they're playing. I think that's probably the safest bet for them. I don't see them. I week 1 when they beat Dallas, I said that they won because Dallas beat themselves. This past week showed more that they can actually hang with them. And if you could take the SND off Dallas, you're sitting in a good position. I was really impressed with what I saw from them this week. And I think, honestly, if they can keep that momentum going, they're going to finish the season top 5. But yeah, I think that's a pretty fair placing for them right now.
Yeah, I have Minnesota just at number 4 right now. It's kind of similar to your points. I don't see them as a top 3 yet. But at the same time, I see them better than the team I have at 5, just based off what they've done against the top higher teams. Minnesota's just a good team right now. I think they'll just keep climbing. That's kind of why I have them at 4.
So I have Minnesota at 3.
Might be a little premature, but go ahead.
It's probably a little bit premature, but I mean, they showed me enough. We all had them kind of in the middle of the pack throughout the entire year so far, and we all kept saying they need to make some sort of change to give them that extra push over the edge, because you see the potential that this team has, and they showed exactly it. I mean, they beat 2 top 3 teams this week, and say what you want about that Optic match. I know Optic played like shit, and again, it was probably more Optic losing than it was Minnesota winning. However,
Minnesota smoked them. No, Minnesota won that match. Minnesota smoked them. No, don't even discredit that, even in the smallest. Minnesota fucking smoked them in that match.
Optic should have taken a map though. If Optic was playing like Optic, they could have.
I
agree. I agree with that, but I mean, at the end of the day, Minnesota.
Yeah, it's not like Florida. Yeah, it's definitely not like the Florida match.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say that the Florida or Minnesota didn't win. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that Optic wasn't themselves, whatever. But Minnesota, we saw some insane stuff out of Attach and Standy specifically. Even Priest looked a lot more comfortable. I've been super hard on him all year. The bottom line is they beat a top 3 team. Then they go on to Sunday. They go 5 maps with Dallas Empire, who are arguably the second best team. I think that's almost unanimous at this point now. They come out and beat Dallas in 5. And again, Standy Attached has played absolutely immaculate the entire week. I think they've earned this spot for now. Will they maintain it? Remains to be seen. But I have them.
So
as a little premature.
You flew Minnesota up prematurely. I dropped LA Thieves prematurely. All right, like it is.
Fair enough.
Zarin, I'll let you rebound it here. Give me your next points on your number 5. Who you got there?
All right. Well, I got Optic at number 5. It's not just basically what happened this week. It's been kind of accrued over the last basically the entire year. I mean, bottom line is they're 7-5. This is not a top 3 team. Top 3 teams don't go 7-5. They win both matches, which they should have won this week. They're a 9-3 team. They're still a top 3 team. They didn't do that. They've looked kind of miserable at some points, even last week and the week before at the major as well. They have been unimpressive. They're still a top 5 team. I think they can pretty much smoke anybody below them on a good day. But right now,
not a good day.
Yeah, I still think there's 4 teams better than them in the top 5 right now.
I got Optic sitting right at number 4, which is, a big step for me as well, just to move them out of my top 3. I had them in second. I think you had them in second in our last power rankings as well.
I think I did.
So, just the fact that me and you both bump them from second down 2 and then down 3 for you, I think says a lot. They, you can't go 0-6 map count in a week and expect to be still considered a top 3 team at the end of the week.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's where I see it. And I think the only thing that stopped me from putting Minnesota above them is just because I didn't want it to be too premature. So I can absolutely see the reason why you got Optic at number 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. You can't get smoked like that and be a top 3. So I have Optic number 3 right now. And and maybe it's the Optic fanboy in me, but they played so poorly.
It's okay. What you say, sarcasm.
Okay, well, they played so poorly that it's hard to look at them as a team that's going backwards. I will say probably at most they're a little stagnant, like you said, being 7-5. They're not. I almost rather them drop so they can figure out. Okay, well, this is definitely not working right now. They're just kind of they're keeping their head above water. But
you want them to drown?
Yeah. But yeah, I think this. I think my number 4 team is. I need to see a little more out of them for them to overtake.
Yeah. In my number 1 spot, I do not have Optic. I have Optic actually number 3 as well. Again, honestly, like you went 0-6 map counts. Yes, it sucks. All that. I'm not going to discredit this team. This team is still filled up with players that have the potential to be top 2 team. Like I don't think I understand it's tough to see that, and seeing the record that they have at 7-5, saying that you can't discredit they can be a top 3 team. But at the end of the day, we look at it like this: the top, there's the one team at the top that we all know who's at the top, and then there's 2 to 12. Like I like that one team's just light years ahead. And my big thing on Optic is you had a bad week. Chalk it, move forward, figure out what you did wrong, figure out what the issue was, and fix it for your next matches coming up. Because forget the past, move forward. That's my big thing with Optic.
All right, roll us into your number 5.
My number 5, I have the New York Subliners. I don't think that they're a bad team. I think they're actually a very good team. I think they're on the rise. It's just as of right now, I haven't seen as much as I would like to see, I should say. It's always interesting seeing Clayster doing something towards the camera. It's one of my favorite things to see throughout the weekend.
He just wants a fine so badly.
It's honestly like he should just hit up Octane because Octane did it so easily.
Hey man, if I had that salary, I'd be getting fines left and right.
But man, it was great just to see him just do the choke. Just classic Clayster. So yeah, CL number Subliners number 5.
I got New York at 4. They've just simply been better than Optic the last few events. Plain and simple. They're not the flashiest team. They're really, honestly, not the most impressive team either. They've had a lot of close series where probably shouldn't have been that close. They're
very scrappy.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. But they win the matches that they need to win. And, flat out, they've been better than Optic the last 3 events. And, if I were to make that argument, okay, probably should have them ahead of Minnesota as well. And they very easily could be considered the 3rd place team right now. I think they probably are. But sticking with my main point, they've just been better than everybody else below them. They're consistent. They know how to get the wins they need to get, and they continue to improve. I still don't think they're at the level of even Dallas quite yet, but they're right there.
I think they're one change away from being at the level of Dallas, and that change comes in the name of Hydra, who is in Challengers right now, ripping it up, just won his first cup in NA. That guy is insane. Get him on the damn main roster. I'm sorry. I need to see him on the main roster. He is too damn good to be in Challengers. I got Subliners in number 3 as well. I think that they could be a top team and be taking maps off of FaZe, if I'm being completely honest, with Hydra on their team. I think you sub out a Seam, you put Hydra in, or sub out Mac and put Hydra in, and I think this team becomes infinitely better, if I'm completely honest. That guy just brings something different to the game. He is 2 weeks into NA Challengers, has already won a cup, got second in his first, and he's probably going to win the Elite Series next week. He is a different beast. He is so good, and he's playing his off role right now too. He's not an AR flex. He plays a submachine gun role in Europe all of his entire career. He's come over, he's changed roles, he's still dominant. I don't know. Get him on the main roster, please.
Yeah, I have New York at number 4. I think one of the things I thought about while I was making my power rankings is if going into next week, if Optic loses one of their matches and New York wins both of theirs, or New York has a better map count than Optic, New York has taken that 3rd spot. I think it's that close. Not that they're both fighting for it, but that Optic slipping and New York is creeping up. Yeah, I think it's pretty close. But New York has been very impressive considering how the first week of the season went for them.
I think one thing that we've been talking about basically the entire podcast is just about the rookies coming up, and one rookie like the Diamond Con, he's just been consistent.
Oh, he's been really good, yeah.
Like I
honestly forget he's a freaking
exactly. You forget he's a rookie just because of how consistent he is, and it's awesome to see. Like it's like we talk about rookies, we talk about PaulEhX coming up, we talk about Insight, we talk about Standy, we talk about Venom, and it's like, well, Diamond Con came up at the beginning of the year.
I think we had our weeks talking about him though. I think that's partially why as well.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's just like he's quietly just being consistent for that team, and you can see how well they're performing just because of how consistent he's been.
I don't necessarily disagree with you, Jesse. I think Hydra would probably make this team better, but
I know why they're not making a change. Yeah. I know why, but I just want to see, like, the fan in me wants to see the change because I think Hydra is amazing. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. You don't make a change on a top 5 team. You just don't. I think until
they will.
Yeah, until they hit a rough patch, which I gotta believe is coming because they haven't had one yet. I think once they hit that rough patch, I think that's when it's going to happen. But as long as they're winning, the change is never going to happen.
I got to be honest with you. I think even if they do well in this next cup because of how well Hydra's doing, I think they're going to make the change. I'm going to put a pack on that. I think after this next stage, I think Hydra's coming up.
it's extremely rare that a good team makes a change to.
But if you want your team to get better, even though you're a good team, you could be a good team. They could be a great team with Hydra, I think. I don't know. That's just my thought process.
It all depends if they're getting how far they're getting in the majors. You have to look at that.
I think even if they place third in the major.
Yeah, no, but if they're consistently getting stuck and not making the finals, you're fine. They keep getting that. I can completely agree with you that Hydra should come up.
Hear me out. Doug Spencer Martin becomes a free agent.
All right.
All right, guys. Well, I think our number 1 and our number 2 are exactly the same, and that's going to do it for us on the podcast today. Atlanta FaZe coming in at number 1 for everybody. Dallas Empire coming in at number 2. Easily the best 2 teams in the game right now. Dallas is easily second, and FaZe is this high above everybody else right now. They are the best team. It's not even close, guys. That's going to do us for the Round 11 podcast. James, thank you for giving us a quick little outro there. I have had way too much fun on this podcast today, I will say.
But Doug Spencer Martin.
Y'all have anything you guys want to say before we close it out?
No, I don't think there's anything left to say other than like the point I made earlier. 12th doesn't mean you're a god awful team, so I think it's going to get a lot more interesting going on. Into
Paris is god awful. Thieves.
Well, that's true.
It's interesting, man. Like it's been said because since they switched back to 4v4 that this is going to be one of the most competitive years, and it's held that title. Like these COD matches are so interesting to watch, and I'm loving it.
The
man.
roller coaster of power rankings.
Yeah. Yep. You know what? I absolutely love watching Optic lose, but Optic fans, you need to chill the fuck out, okay? It's okay. You guys lost 2 games.
No, it's not.
Relax. It's all good.
You wouldn't understand.
I really would.
You haven't lost to AIX 3 years in a row, champs. All right, you won't ever understand.
Maybe.
That's actually like blasphemous. I have a Cloud9 jersey right next to my Optic jersey.
Why would you do that?
That's messed up.
You know what happens when I see that, James? I literally think Stronghold Black Ops 3. That's literally all I think.
Oh, baby, 4-1.
I love that he took his headset off, so he didn't hear exactly. What did I say, James? Go ahead, say what I said. Take a guess. Take a guess. What do those 2 jerseys remind you of?
Oh, the BO3.
1v1 on what map?
I can't. Was it was it Fringe?
No, it was Stronghold.
I was Stronghold, but yeah. Formal joking,
they did choke a Fringe map in that series.
My mind has blocked that out.
You're not wrong. They choked a Fringe. They choked a Fringe capture the flag in that same series. So I mean, it is what it is, guys. That's gonna do us for the podcast today. Thank you guys again all so much for watching. If you guys made it this far in the podcast, make sure you guys are following us on all our socials. They'll be listed in the description below. And I mean, just follow our damn freaking Twitter. We got to blow it up a little bit here so we can start getting some guests on the podcast. That's gonna do it for us today, guys. Hope you guys all have a fantastic rest of your day.